All right. Hi everyone. Hi. We will discuss about the performance issue what we currently experiencing in staging, right? So there's a lot of other performance issue in staging, but particularly we look at the views, especially on the site entity, right? So why the view is taking really longer time to render, right? Um, and there are a couple of reasons, right? So very generic thing is if a view is taking really long time, there's a couple of factors. One is about the filters, what kind of filters we use in that view. Second is the number of columns, right? How many columns we have in the view. Also, is there any memo field in the view, right? So memo field or it's a um, big text field, right? That takes long time to render in the view, right? It's not recommended to add a memo field to the view, right? Let's come back to the point, right? So there's an email back and forth, right, about this performance issue, right? So I want to talk about in detail what they are, right? So Kim, I saw your latest email, right? So your point is if a site name is sorted in the view by default, then the view renders much faster. That's true, right? Uh, why? What is special for the site name field? Site name field is special because it's a primary attribute. So, what do you mean by primary attribute, right? So, when you create an entity, the attribute also will get created. The first attribute will get created along with the entity. That entity is called primary attribute, right? So this primary attribute it has some special characteristics, right? So the platform creates a clustered index on this particular field, right? And that's what this is much faster, right? If you search in a quick find, if you sort, it renders much faster, right? So um so back to Kim's point again, right? If you don't sort this primary attribute, sort some other field, any other field in the site, right? Say especially the custom attribute, right? Let's take site number, right? Site number is a custom attribute, right? If I sort the site number, you will not get the same performance what I get for the site name, right? The reason what she has mentioned, site number is there is no index created for the site number. It's not exactly right. Yes, there is an index created for the site number, right? How it is getting created, right? So how do we know that index is actually created for the site number, right? So there is a concept in dynamic CRM, right? If you enable a field for a quick search, right, the platform automatically creates index for that particular field, right? So what do you mean by enable a field on the search, right? So say let's take an example. In this account view, we have a search control, right? If I enable a field that can be searched on this particular control, then a platform creates a non-clustered index for that particular field, right? So in our case, in the site entity, site number is one of the searchable field, right? So yes, the platform has created a non-clustered index for that field, right? So yes, it has a clustered index. Then why it's not similar to the performance what the site name is producing, right? Right. So that's what we are going to talk about in detail, right? So to demonstrate this, I've created a two views, right? One, that particular view has a site number sorted. There is no other sorting field, only the site number column is sorted. There is another view, pretty much same, but the site number sorted in descending order, which is Z to A, right? Let's look at this, both the scenario, and I'll compare this and talk about which is the best and why, which will give the better performance improvement, right? Okay, let's navigate to the site, right? this is the site entity. So the default view, it's on the site entity is taking time because of the expensive filter criteria we have used. It is contained, right? It's just like a like, right? So I'm searching a like, say XYZ in the table, right? So this site entity has millions of data, right? Like search is expensive, right? And that particular field, I think the source, I don't think it has the index, right? That's another reason, so it's taking time, right? So we'll wait once. Yeah, there you go. It has just 10 records because of the filter criteria. So if I click here, and we can see the filter criteria what is used on this particular site. Data source contains demo. This contains is very expensive, right? All right, let's, yeah. So I've created two views for the two scenarios which I said earlier, right? The first view, data validation -CAES site integration sort by site number. In this view, only the site number is sorted. There is no other column sorted, especially the primary attribute which you're referring, site name. It's not included in the sorting at all, right? Let's navigate to this view. This particular view and the data validation CIS site integration both are very much same. It returns the same amount of data, right? Let's take a look at it. So I clicked on this pretty fast, right? It's just kind of not even a second, or I think maybe a second. So let me clarify this again. There is no other column sorted. Site number is sorted here, and no other columns. Let's look at the site name. Site name is not sorted at all, right? So the view renders much faster. It returns the same set of data, right? Right. So before I talk anything in detail, right, let's go back to the second scenario and trigger that view and see, render that view and see how much time does it take, right? The same view, same filter, same set of data. The only difference is, so this sort the site number in descending order, that is Z to A. The scenario one, it sorts the site number from A to Z, right? So it started at 11:43, right? Probably 11:43.30 seconds. Let's think. So generally it takes 1 minute on this particular view. It's still spinning. $11:45. Yeah, there you go. Almost 1 minute, right? So the same set of data, just like the first scenario, but it took longer time, right? The reason is, let's see the impact, right? If you sort the site number in descending order Z to A, it is an expensive operation, right? The reason is CRM fetches the data from the database, right? Then it sorts, right? The sorting operation taking more time, right? Because of the huge volume, right? Then it renders into the UI. So the first approach, site number is sorted, but it is in ascending order, that is A to Z, and approach to the site number is sorted, but it is in descending order Z to A, right? So ascending order is much faster than the descending order. So we have to go with this the approach one, right? Whenever we want a particular field to be sorted, uh, we can go with the ascending order unless there is a recommend from the business. But again, since sorting from descending order Z to A, it has an impact, right, on the performance. All right, so let's take a look at this, right? What I'll do, I will create another copy of this view over here, and I'll say ascending order. You can render this and let me know how it performs, right? All right, thank you. Bye.